Welcome back to the Munn Avenue Muse podcast, brought to you by the Munn Avenue Press, munnavenuepress.com. We publish books and promote them worldwide, and to prove that, we have a wonderful guest today from Portugal, Skai Delacroix, who has an amazing story to share with you and a great new book that we want to tell you about. And Skai's journey is quite fantastic. He spent 3 years in silence, and his book is called 3 Years in Silence. To master his energy, he's now helping conscious people to break mental, emotional, and physical limitations and fully align with the divine. After graduating from a top French business school in Paris, he forsook his career to develop his healing ability over 22 years. This includes a 3-year period in deep silence and meditation, with 1 year sitting 23 hours a day, non-stop, working purely on energy. 1 year walking about 12 hours a day without food, water, or rest from morning to night. Skai has helped thousands of people to find their life purpose and activate their power to own their lives. He's developed a specific process to help people quickly heal from mental, emotional, and physical traumas and diseases. Skai believes that humans are limitless. They can heal and create whatever they put their mind and will to, and he wants to help as many people as possible to awake and discover their own specific gifts. So, Skai, welcome to the Munn Avenue Muse podcast, and thank you for taking the time to share your story with us. And you do have an amazing story about your spiritual journey. Can you tell us a little about that?
First, thank you, Charles, for having me with you today. And when you say a little, what do you mean? 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Because I just wrote a whole book, so I don't want to be too long.
Give us 2, 3, or 4 minutes. I mean, it's a lot. I know it's a lot, but give us an overview of what you Well, maybe a good place to start, Skai, is what made you change your course? I mean, you were on a business guy. Why did you, what made you say, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do that?
Yeah, it was pretty sudden, actually. I did HEC in Paris. It's the top business school. I was a happy guy, I was not depressed necessarily. I had a small depression, but I was looking for meaning. I was like, okay, I can have money now, have friends. I was a party guy. What's next? I was just helping basically people who already have money make more money. That's really what I was doing. I was a strategy consultant on internet and working with big companies who wanting to scale more, and it didn't make sense. But I was not spiritual person at all, like most French people. Very, very atheistic, actually hardcore atheistic. So I had a bit reached the top of the material life, with no outside, or inner really depths. And so I was asking myself, and after asking, one day I went to an art show in the Centre Pompidou in Paris, contemporary art show, and boom, I had like a click. Was like, whoa, this is my life. I didn't know what that meant, but art, philosophy, it was not even spiritual at the time. And I started going deep into art, doing a lot of shows, a lot of things, researching, reading, and open something inside of me, and starting having more and more synchronicities, more and more things, that in terms of probability were not really normal, and happening a lot. And then I make it short, but I had like what is called a spiritual awakening, where I discovered that I was something more than what I thought, and I could connect with my higher self really clearly, like we talk now, I would have a conversation inside telling me who I was, why I came back, why I did a business school, whether, my main interest was art, philosophy, things like that. And much more, about our system, about how people were kind of a bit blinded, and conditioned to be ignorant. a lot of things, beautiful things. And I did the first healing. Actually, it happens, through me discussing with someone who healed from something serious, severe pain in the bones, basically. And I couldn't deny that. I saw that in full day, and I was a non-believer. I was still an atheistic for a while, but it was, like a miracle, like something that's not normal, according to traditional science. And I saw that, and so. Yeah, then I went on a long journey, basically a very long journey to understand, what happened, to understand myself, to ground myself also, because I went very, very far, but then I was very ungrounded. I didn't really have anyone, around me, basically, who could relate, explain me what was I going through at the time. Now there's a lot of people since the pandemic who was awakening, and I saw that in 2001. I had visions of the future, and that voice was telling me, in 20 years, people are going to be like you. A lot of people. I was an alien in Paris. People were thinking I was crazy. So it's just they would love me, and we would go like really deep. It's just they thought I was completely gone. And but I received that also.
So you were in Paris. And
at the beginning,
and you decided not to speak for this period of time.
That was about 10 years after.
Okay.
I had already a long journey. That's why I make it short, because I had 1 year after that awakening. I had 1 year of ecstasy, basically, and then I came down. I was unrooted, and I was completely lost. In confusion, panic attacks. I went to severe depression. I was diagnosed bipolar with schizophrenic tendencies, because I had visions and things, but for the doctors it was just madness. So I went through hell. When I say I grew up really lucky, but then I went through like 10 years of pure hell, mental hell, all level. And then I finally kind of reconnected with that voice, with that source. Progressively, I was in New York at the time. I was about to do an art show also, and a movie. I have written a big trilogy when I was in New York, and everybody wanted to do it, 8 directors, producers, all on it. And I was feeling I was still two. There were two personalities between me, a higher self and a lower self, and it was not functioning together. So I asked my guidance, what can I do? I'm tired of that, because I could see myself being successful. Again, this time it was nice. It was not just business. It was a movie to change, consciousness and all of that. But I was not changed myself. I was not balanced myself, and I didn't want to be an imposter, talking about oneness and all these things and not embodying it. So I asked my guidance, what can I do? And that's when I received a very clear, injunction to stop everything. Basically, if I wanted to be, to become one, really grounded and in peace and harmony. So that's when I entered the silence for 3 years. So 1 year on the chair, I was sitting day and night. I didn't know I would go for 3 years. I was just following, my energy. I have a sense where I should sit, what I should do, to feel good. So I was following that. And that ended up being, 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I had no idea I would go through that far. I was completely emaciated, like in the Himalayas, like some yogis, who goes into caves. I did that in Eco Park in LA, basically in the middle of the city. But I was, it was hardcore yoga. I barely eat, a little bowl of oatmeal or sometimes a hot chocolate with a croissant, and then sitting without moving for 1 day, 3 days sometimes straight.
And what went through your mind while you were doing that? Was your mind clear and still, or were there thoughts? What was that like? I know a number of people, and I myself have meditated, and I know what that experience is like, but not for 23 hours a day over a period of time. So what was that like?
There's both elements that I cannot even tell, because it's in another world, in another realm, where I was, and there's elements I can clearly tell. So there was part of it was fighting against the voice, indeed, the mind about the cold, because I would stay bare chest, barefoot the whole night. So it's LA, but in December it's cold, the window open, the whole night you don't move, so the body becomes really cold. And summer, it's very hot in Eco Park. I was full south, it was 110 degrees in my room. It was so no water, no eating, all of that. So not moving. The body is designed to move, to be in motion, except when it sleeps. But I wouldn't move, so there would be complaint, about that. Not sleeping, I would stay on my chair, eyes open. Maybe a couple of hours, I would go into another world. But so a huge part of my yoga, yoga in Sanskrit, it means work. It's the divine work to become one. So it's not, doing posture that's a form of yoga, the hatha yoga. When I mean yoga, I mean that, becoming work, doing the work for that. It was that to go against this legitimate complaints, often of the body and of the mind against what I was doing, and I had to find that space beyond that, deeper when it's okay, when you can see that complaints, but you can find, everybody has experienced that when something is really hard, but you somewhat detach from that place, and you're okay. It's not great, but it's okay. And so all the work was to go deeper and deeper, always to stay in that position, which is the position of your higher self, of your true deeper self, of your soul, and stay rooted, stay grounded in it. So I would do ordeals, for 1 day, for 3 days. I would listen. There would be a little loop of music, I compose also electronic music. It was very simple to not take too much attention, but to stay me like a mantra. It was playing itself. I didn't do anything. It was playing in the background. And I would move energy. I don't know how to explain that. I would do work. I would have an assignment, which is not verbal. I cannot explain what it is. And I would move that. I would had to do that, basically. And I would finish after 24 hours. Then something would get me out of that. Tell me, okay, now you can go eat. And I couldn't tell what it was to myself. I forgot. 24 hours I was doing that stuff, and so I understood later that I was working on a deeper plane, closer to the 0 point energy field. That's what I do now as a healer. I bring people into that space, and that's how I can heal people so quick. Help them heal, so quick. And I was learning to anchor that and to remove obstacles, blockages, and to create an access for this force, basically, within my body or within this plane also.
That to equate something. And how did you know you were done with that phase after that first year?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I didn't know when I would be done. For 9 months, I was still legal at this time. I had a business visa, and I became illegal on my chair. October 19, I remember. I knew it was coming. Still had some solutions out there, but no. So I celebrated my illegality on the chair. So that was already 9-10 months, I think, and. And I received progressively. I was also running out of money. I didn't have so much left, because I was just living on my savings, basically, which was not huge. So after 1 year, I don't remember exactly how it happened, but someone would sometime come to give me money, like a nice lady, and she would to give me food. Sorry, she would cook me, a nice meal. She was into the Hindu also, a very nice lady, and she told me, could you go maybe to an ashram or to something like that? I didn't know anything about ashrams. I've never been into the spiritual world, like before. I was connected to the divine, but in that reality, I was not really into that. But so, that's how I was starting feeling, okay, there was a new step for me. And I thought, it would be a nice step. I would go, with a community, nice spiritual people, because I've already been alone for 10 years on my path. But that was not the case at all. Like the force has another plan for me, which was to walk, basically. So I was indeed in Northern California after that, in a big community, a Yogananda community with 300 people, but I would not talk, or barely. And I would walk, so from morning to night. So this time it was in motions, and so I would have to go through now more other types of physical pains, on the feet, because I have a lot of injuries also, and thirst also, like hunger, like a boredom to walk for 20-30 miles every day. I would have a normal breakfast, good breakfast, and then no food, no water, no rest, basically, until night. So
Skai, after going through that, what made you decide to write this book, 3 Years in Silence?
Yeah, so to finish quickly, after that year of walking, I had another year of running. Same thing. I thought I was done. I was feeling really good. Actually, a lot of light that time. I was feeling what I wanted to get to. But then I started running, so I ran another year for 40, 50 miles a day. Like almost every day I would run that much. And then I went to Boulder in Colorado when I started meeting people who would be interested, what I had to say, and so guiding people organically, starting having a community. It was very beautiful, for a few years. And I would guide a lot of younger people at the time from Naropa University, in Buddhist University in Boulder. And then another journey happened. And recently, it was my wife, actually, 2 years ago, who told me you should really write that down, because it was still there, it was still like heavy. I would talk about it, too much, according to her, actually. And people would be like really interested, but she heard it a lot. So she said, okay. She said, you should probably write it down. And I didn't really know, because I had that big movie project, which was more about also my whole life or stuff, and I didn't want to do something complicated. I was so very busy with my work, was starting really to start doing well. So I said, okay, let's just focus, on these 3 years, and make it simple. And so every morning, I woke up at, I think 5 or something like that, 5, 6, and for 2 hours I would just write. And very detached, just channeling. It felt really good. Things were coming clearly. It was sort of like, very nice catharsis, of all these years, putting it into form. There was no really ego. I'm not trying to prove. I'm not trying also to hide. I was really feeling I was myself. And that was like very, very organic, very nice. And so then I got some editors, to help me put it into the proper English. Because even if I've been in the States for now 18 years, because I'm in Portugal, but I'm between California and Portugal, and my English was not always the best, to express. There was still a lot of French way of saying things. So to put that into form and into form that I was happy. So it feels good, at all levels.
Yeah, and it's a wonderful book. I highly recommend it, 3 Years in Silence, which is available on Amazon.com. You can check it out. And you made an interesting comment there, too, because those 2 years of writing in the morning were a kind of meditation, too, right? I mean, in a sense, when I do my writing, I write in the mornings. It's the right time of day for me. Mm-hmm. And a few years ago, I met a fabulous writer named Walter Mosley, who won the National Book Award. And he said, I write in the mornings because it's closer to my dreams. Mm. And I thought that was really perfect, because you do draw from deep inside, from your unconscious or subconscious when you write. And well, your particular journey was there, but even I write fiction, but early on when I was first writing and inventing characters and situations and things, and I'd be done and I'd say, well, where did those come from? It's not your conscious mind that's creating those things. It's somewhere from deep inside. So some of you authors who are listening may have had a similar experience, but then there are other writers that write at night or write in the middle of the night, and have different times, but the mornings seem to work for me. Skai, talking to you project this positive energy. I mean, I can just sort of feel myself relaxing and getting into this nice zone talking to you. I think it would be interesting, and I'd love to hear it. Can you read us a short passage from your book that gives us an idea of what it's like? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would like to share one. It's related to what you just said, because a lot of people tell me that now, I feel good. I even have some people who feel healing in their body. When we talk, I was buying a motorcycle last year in LA, actually, and to a French guy, and his wife tell me, we were discussing, and he said, "Oh, my pen is gone." She had a pen on her shoulder. I don't remember where. It was gone because she was very open to my energy. It depends, of course, not for everyone, but she was very open. She would kind of trust, and feels good, and poof, the healing was happening. And so I understood that the work I was doing, because it's not like I understand everything when I was doing, I was just doing what I had to do, that force was guiding me to do, basically, and so it was mainly surrendering. But now what I understand is I've been doing a deep work inside the body, on the cells of the body, and that's how I can help people basically heal themselves, and access their cells consciousness. So this passage is linked to that. It's after the second year when I was walking, like the whole day and night, which was even more painful than the sitting because it was in motion. And at some point, there was that thought mind that was complaining, why am I doing that? I mean, I did a top business school in France, and I was making it to Hollywood, and it's all that. And now I'm just like walking like a slave every day, talking to no one. So there was that transistor, that mind that was complaining. I was detached, and I was not that anymore at the time. So I was in a different station, what I call I, but that was still playing. It was not completely gone, and so at some point, and so the whole I, this was body and soul, surrendered, and accepted basically that okay, it's gonna be my path if I'm supposed to walk until the end of my life. For 50 years, I will walk, in silence if that's because I don't want to go back to what I was before. I want to go, forward to that, and so something shifted in my very body, and I could feel a ton of energy, like really flowing basically through me. So, and that's when I really shifted. So that's this passage. This passage is describing this. So it's not my thought mind. I already surrendered that a long time ago. It's my body consciousness, my body mind, this primitive, powerful, fundamental thing at the root of our human being. My body mind is beginning to say yes instead of no all the time. I can feel that there are still some cells saying no, but the majority are saying yes, at least the strongest ones, and they're able to bend the equilibrium, to reverse the trend, and to open the gate. It's a bit like this vision I had about the future of mankind. After years of oppression, control, and darkness, the humans who have kept going, kept transforming, kept aligning with their truth, something is happening within these humans. A fire is being lit up within their respective hearts and bodies, and these fires, these electrical currents, are connecting. Even if there may be 3 to 5% of the population, they're connecting and establishing a grid, an indestructible grid of consciousness and fire. And that grid is finding a loophole in the armor of the oppressor, where it can sneak in. And from there, it's flipping the dark empire upside down. It seems that the same is happening at a micro scale within my body, as if I'm a laboratory for the future of mankind, as if the fact that I can realize that within me, liberate that source within my body's energetic field, release these fiery cells and shift the stuck matter, is impacting the whole of humanity. It's creating a seed from which the force can grow, a stargate, a portal through which the forces from beyond can pass and rescue us. As the rigid defenses from my body give way, a new life is emerging.
Oh, great. That's wonderful. Yeah. Wow. So after the few years and now, I mean, tell us a little bit about your KA energetics and the Potentia program and what you're doing. You had this inward journey, and now in a sense you're sharing it with other people. What is that about? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm. So it's called my program is called Ka Energetics. So KA in Egyptian it means it's the life force, within the soul. Basically, it's like the double inside,
right.
And so that's in reference to that double that I felt, in 2001 when I felt I have a friend inside, who was telling me about the future, about the past, about people, what was in their soul. So it was like having your best friend constantly inside. That's really what the Ka is. And energetics, because I work with energy as a primordial medium, basically. And so my modality is called K-energetics. And within it, I have designed a program which is called Potentia, which is working really well for a lot of people to help people basically master yourself, master your relationship, and master your mission. So I deal with these three aspects and really align with your full potential, what I call your divine potential. So I help people basically transmute core blockages, core traumas, really lifelong traumas, people who have been stuck for 30, 40, 50, 60 years sometimes, with things coming from their childhoods in a pretty short amount of time, going at the root of this trauma. So a process that I call the double vortex, a technique that I have. They can access really the root of that, understand it, and then remove the energy associated with it. And so we have incredible healings, in the group, people healing from cancer, from Crohn's disease, 30 years, from neuropathy, where all the doctors cannot find, any way really to do it, from chronic UTI, 17 years, from all type of HIV, also herpes. I have even people sometimes just doing that practice, that double vortex technique, and they say, I had a nice lady who sent us an email, and she was crying. She said, I can't believe it. It's 14 years. I have that herpes in my back, and I started doing a vortex. She didn't even meet me. She just did a video online, before a live event we had. And it stopped growing. It stopped growing, and it recedes, and now it stopped. And so at the beginning, for me, it was a miracle, and now I understand there's a process with it. And the technique is simple. The core technique I teach through all the program, and we do it in many different ways. It's called double vortex technique. And it's basically a technique I designed after those 3 years when I was in Colorado. I would go at night and I would dance and spin, So I would have my electronic music, my headphones, but for hours, because I was used to long practices. So I would start spinning like that in the snow for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, 6 hours sometimes like this. And that's how I started removing energies from my brother and sister at the time, which I was guiding, helping. I would remove some stuck energies, dark energies, entities, extract them from their souls, and free them. And then they would tell me, I feel much better today. I feel incredible. And so I didn't learn that, I just experienced it like that. And progressively, I finalized this technique about a few years ago. And so it's simple. I help people silencing their mind, and just stop it, going deeper into their heart, and start moving the energy, clockwise, just a feeling, a gentle movement. So counterclockwise, like you unscrew something, you remove it. So they remove what is stuck, what is negative, what is painful, whether it's in a cell, it's in the heart, or it's in the mind. And then when they feel more peace, more light, more open, they start going clockwise, and they start activating what they want now, taking their power, basically, instead of. And it's amazing. Really like to see people shifting so quick, and we have groups and they do it together, and they realize, I can do it. It's not just Skai doing it because he spent years in science. So I tell them, I did all of that, but you don't have to do that. Just apply that honestly, and consistently, and you're gonna have amazing results at all levels. It's not just physical; it's emotional. It's in terms of finance, in terms of relationship, lovers, all of that. It impacts the whole life. So that's what we do. We have a lot of fun, and we shift a lot of things also.
Oh, good for you. And if you want to learn more about that, Skai's website is kaenergetics.com. As a bit of a disclaimer, we're not giving medical advice here or endorsing the program, because I haven't done it myself, but I'm darn tempted to do that, because I believe there is a whole lot more to what's going on in the universe than we physically encounter. And I think Skai has done an amazing job or service in connecting us with some of those higher energies and ways of impacting our lives in a positive way. So Skai, I'm so appreciative of your spending the time to talk with us today. Again, Skai's book is 3 Years in Silence, available on Amazon.com. I will mention that unlike some of the people we've interviewed, we did not publish Skai's book, but we will be promoting it, and if you stay tuned to this space, there will be a special offer on the ebook in a few days, so you might want to check that out. This is really different for us, Skai. This is
oh yeah, that's like next next level of. It's funny because for me it's my world, so it's
right.
it's normal. But yeah, I don't always. And right now I'm mainly connecting with people who understand what I do. So I'm not used anymore. So I'm just being myself. I know it can be spooky for some people, but that's why people can go on the website. They're gonna see 40, 50 testimonials, of people healing their chronic fatigue, their cancer, all of that. So I don't have to prove it anymore. At the beginning, it was harder because people thought I was crazy. But now, when you have people, writing it and you see the light and the joy and all of that, it speaks for itself. So, but
well, I think even for people that haven't encountered this kind of thinking, you come across as very authentic, and we all can pick up a vibe. We know when somebody is real and when somebody is fake, right?
Yeah.
I think you will understand, and even if they don't go for the whole program in a sense, they will be, as Chris said, they'll be intrigued, and maybe they'll buy your book, it's good, and it is kind of synchronicity that brought us together, right? I mean, it's a whole series of happy accidents that all of a sudden we're having this conversation and getting to know each other and doing a little work together to promote your book. And I'm a big believer in synchronicity and serendipity, and the best things in life seem to happen by accident, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's my life. I just follow that. It's constantly like this. So for me, it's so normal now, and I have stopped worried about what people can think. Also, before I was very afraid of that. Above all, being French, the French is very hard judge. They judge people, they condemn, they want you, and so that's been very hard on me. And now I'm like, I am who I am. I'm not an imposter. I'm doing what I want. I'm not forcing anyone. I don't care. I have plenty of joy and nice people in my life. So the people who like it, they like it. The people who think, it's not for them, it's fine too. I have no problem with that. It's I think authenticity is the key, and indeed in my field there's a lot. I mean, like any field, there's a lot of fakes also. People who can look really nice, and really this, but it's not real. So that's for people to decipher that also. Like me, I can only be myself.
Yeah. So Skai, thank you so much again for joining us. This has been the Munn Avenue Muse podcast, brought to you by the Munn, MUNN, Avenue Press.com, where we publish and market books worldwide. Today in Portugal with the wonderful Skai Delacroix. Thank you, Skai.
Thank you, Charles. It was a pleasure, an honor, and I'm looking forward to more.